Today, I will be answering Google's top questions about professors. Throughout my years as an undergraduate and graduate student, I made a lot of assumptions about what it meant to be a professor. Now that I am 2.5 years into my tenure track position as a full-time professor, I wanted to share some insights with you about what this career actually entails. And like most careers, the insights that I'm providing for you today are impacted by a host of factors. These factors include the rank of the professor, the rank of the institution, the discipline in which the professor is situated, the employment contract of said professor, the university's location, and a host of other factors. As a result, I am going to focus my insights on what does it mean to be a professor in the humanities, while also providing some general information about the profession as well. Do professors need a teaching credential? No, professors do not need a teaching credential. Our credentials are focused on our expertise in our research subject and not our expertise in teaching that research subject. However, there are graduate programs around the country that do provide opportunities for graduate students to get teaching certificates and be a part of teaching workshops and teaching programs in order to help their graduate students become more effective instructors. Unfortunately, not everyone will have access to these opportunities, and some of these opportunities are limited in scope at certain institutions. Even though a teaching credential is not required, each institution does have teaching expectations, and those expectations depend on the rank of the institution. For instance, community colleges are teaching-focused institutions, while R1s, which stands for a Research 1 institution, are more focused on producing research. Meaning that if you are applying to jobs at community colleges, it would really benefit you to go to a graduate program where there will be these teaching programs or teaching certificate opportunities for you. And while teaching experience is not required in order to be employed at an R1, it is still highly favorable because even professors at R1s are still expected to perform well in the classroom. Do professors need a PhD? No, professors do not need a PhD. What they need is a terminal degree. A terminal degree is the term used to describe the highest degree available in any given academic discipline. When a student graduates from their chosen academic program with a terminal degree, it means that they have reached the highest level of education available in their chosen field. Therefore, some professors have PhDs, some professors have MFAs, some professors have JDs, and some professors even have MDs. I have 3 graduate degrees. I have a master's degree, I have a master's of fine arts degree, and I have a PhD. So 2 of my 3 degrees are terminal degrees. I will also say that when it comes to lecturers or adjuncts, terminal degrees are not always required. But having a terminal degree is much more commonplace due to the saturation of the job market. I will also say that graduate students are also not expected to have a terminal degree. When they are teaching in the classroom, that teaching experience is often in pursuit of one of their graduate degrees, so they are being given teaching opportunities, like I explained in the first question, in order to become more effective instructors once they graduate. Do professors round up grades? Some professors do round up grades and some don't. Grade inflation has been a troubling issue in both the K-12 and higher education systems. Grade inflation, which is a practice where the scores students receive on graded assignments are artificially heightened. And there are honestly a host of reasons as to why grade inflation is on the rise. Students need to graduate and move into the job market, and sometimes professors can feel pressured to make sure that becomes a reality for them. Also, students may be more likely to provide a generous evaluation for a professor if that student did well in their class. And sometimes professors may feel bullied by a student or pressured by administration to make sure a student receives a passing grade. These factors require that each professor develop their own value system or judgment call around whether they will or will not round up grades. Do professors actually check sources? I would say generally yes, professors do check sources. I imagine that this question is regarding student work. So, for example, will professors check the sources that students turn in with their homework assignment or a final paper? A good practice for professors to alleviate this kind of confusion is to require that students only cite the sources that have been reviewed in class. This is a practice that I generally abide by. There have been a few occasions when I have allowed students to use outside sources, but because I'm an expert in the field, generally the sources they use I already am aware of. In another instance, what I have done is required that students send me those articles, and then I collate them into a folder, and it actually is really helpful because then it allows me to have access to these other articles that I may not have read before. Do professors get summers off? That depends. Like teachers in the K-12 system, teaching during the summer is up to the university as well as the professor's discretion. Summer courses are usually courses that have a high yield. They are often the courses that are impacted during the spring, fall, and winter semesters. And schools alleviate that overflow by offering these courses over the summer. So not all courses will be offered, and not all professors will have the opportunity to teach during the summer because student demand is limited and the university resources over the summer are also limited. In addition, professors at research or creative-based institutions are expected to be working on their research or creative projects during the summer. Even though these research projects and creative works are a part of our job requirements, most professors do not get paid to do their work over the summer. So even though we're not teaching, we're generally still working because the summer is the most opportune time for us to be completing our research or writing a research article or attending conferences or finalizing any of the additional work that we weren't able to do over the course of the school year. I would also venture to say that most professors will take some sort of rest break or vacation over the summer as well. There is one more caveat about summer work. While some professors' contracts are just 9 months because we have the summers off, there are some professors that are in admin positions with 12-month contracts. So those professors will remain working or teleworking throughout the entire 12 months. And also remember that even for summer programs to run or even for the fall semester to get off of its feet, professors do need to be working some part of the summer in order for the beginning of the fall semester to run smoothly. Do professors have to do research? No, professors do not have to do research. Research requirements, just like teaching requirements, are dependent on the expectations of the university. It also is dependent on the rank of the professor as well as the professor's employment contract. Even professors at the same institution can have different research expectations. Some professors are in research-based or research-dominant positions, while other professors are in more teaching-based or teaching-dominant positions. When professors go on the job market, they have to weigh these kind of options when applying for these different kinds of positions. Do professors live on campus? Generally, professors do not live on campus. If professors are not from the city in which they have just accepted a job, they will have to find off-campus housing in that new city. There are some special programs on some university campuses where university professors can work and live on campus, but generally that only occurs when a professor's academic position is attached to student residential life. Other universities may offer on-campus housing in a very limited capacity, allowing faculty to stay on campus for a limited amount of time until they are able to find permanent housing off campus. And this kind of program is often offered to professors who are moving from out of state or are moving internationally. And you should also note that on-campus housing does not necessarily mean that professors are actually living on campus. Although in some cases that might be true, but on-campus housing refers to housing owned by the university, so that can also mean housing that is near campus, but doesn't have to be directly on campus. Do professors make a lot of money? I am unclear about what it means to make a lot of money, but I will venture to say that making six figures in today's economy is the beginning of what most people might think is considered a lot of money. So if I were to rephrase this question, I would ask, do professors make six figures? Some professors do make six figures, but most don't. And again, this depends on the type of institution. Professors at top-tier institutions who are also at the top of their field are more likely to be making six figures. Remember that professors are still considered educators, and for educators in the public sector, our salaries are dictated by taxpayer policies. If you are curious about professor salaries in the public sector, you can simply research this information because it is public knowledge. And the best way to access that information is to research the salary schedule of a particular institution or particular university system. This information may not be readily available for private institutions. However, if you go to websites like Indeed.com or Career Explorer, you may be able to find some sample salary schedules. Do professors get paid more than teachers? Since professors are teachers, what distinguishes our pay are our levels of education. In addition, what distinguishes a teacher from a professor is also the level of education in which they work. There are teachers with doctorate degrees in the K-12 system, meaning like college professors, they also pursued and received their PhDs. But rather than going into higher education, they opted to enter the K-12 system. It's just that it's not culturally understood to call a teacher in the K-12 system a professor, so instead they are identified as a teacher. Likewise, teachers in the higher education system are still identified as being professors, even if they don't have their PhD or a terminal degree. And that is because it is more culturally acceptable to address a teacher in the higher education system as professor. Teachers in the K-12 system may receive higher pay as a result of having a or multiple graduate degrees. I have known of some private schools in the K-12 system that pay their teachers with graduate degrees more than universities pay their professors. And again, this is dependent on the school system. I hope that my answers were informative. Feel free to share your comments or experiences in the comments below. I would love to hear your answers to these questions as well. And if you have any additional questions or follow-ups, feel free to leave them in the comments and I will be happy to give you any additional insight. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video.